splashy water slides.
Buckets and bull swish, 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 buckets and bull swish.
Zoom.
All right, everybody, welcome again to another episode of Buckets and Bull Swish. Guys, I cannot believe we are on episode 15. We're sitting up here with Tobin. I'm going to sit back and call him Thomas the Train. And those of you who know his game, this is not a train you want to get in front of. And you better be careful because he's got that long bomb to sit back in his arsenal as well. Thank you for joining us on this, Friday afternoon, Tom. How are you
Yep,
feeling, man?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. I just got back from Ireland.
I saw that.
So,
I saw that. I'm
yeah.
glad
So
you
you haven't
shared it
seen
because
me.
yeah, I didn't want to be all in your business. Business, pleasure, or were you down there for basketball?
Pleasure. Pleasure. No basketball, only golf. So that's
Okay.
kind of my other hobby. Yeah, I had we were there for about 8 or 9 days. That's why you didn't see me at Centerville for a
Mhm.
couple of weekends because I was overseas and just got back this week. So back to the work grind and but I'll be there Saturday. I'll be there tomorrow morning. So
I'm gonna ask you this though. Talking about golf though, right? I would imagine that age isn't really a factor in the golf game.
no, not as much. So you know, growing up, golf wasn't a thing. Like it wasn't something we did. My dad wasn't a golfer. No one in my family played, so it wasn't even in the picture. And I probably started playing, a couple times a year when I was like in my mid 20s, like because I had a corporate job and people are always golfing, and it seemed like a good thing to be able to do from a work perspective. But I never really really got into it. I would just play here and there, and golf's a sport where if you don't play often, you're not going to likely be very good. So, I kind of was just like, it was just a casual thing. But I'd say in the last like 10 years, I'm 50 now. So, last 10 years, I'm starting to think about, I love to compete, right? So I still play basketball, but at some point, basketball will probably be done. And like, what am I going to do when I'm 60, 70, hopefully 80? And that's golf because I see guys, I'm a member at DuPont Country Club, and I see guys out there mid 80s out there playing. And
Yes.
so it's something that I can do hopefully for the rest of my life,
Yeah.
when the basketball days are over.
Well, let me tell you, there's some people in the community that will sit back and argue it is never over, but I
I
definitely
know.
understand. Let me tell you, there's also some days and after you play in the morning where you're like, oh, it's
Oh
over
yeah.
tomorrow.
Oh, I know. I know. That's the issue is like I play in a good week, I'll play 4 times a week. And
Okay.
that,
Yeah.
come Sunday afternoon, I'm like, the knees are screaming, the back hurts, it's everything. I got scratches on my arms from people hacking.
We all got those scratches. Now, you kind of hinted
Hmm.
at one of the questions, right? Again, talk about how many times you play during the week,
Hmm.
but be more specific. I think you mentioned Centerville by name, but what
Yeah.
are some of the other places where you play basketball?
Yeah. So right now, I have a friend who has a gym at his house,
Okay, okay.
and it's not full regulation size gym, but we play like 4-on-4 full court. So
Okay.
it's probably and it's all guys who, for the most part, have played and like know how to play. It's a pretty friendly game, and everyone's like for the most part 45, 50 and up.
Okay.
Now sometimes guys have their kids will come out now. Their kids are in college, and it'll be like two different games going on at once. But for the most part, it's a good group of guys over 50, and
Okay.
it's a friendly game. It's a good workout. It's competitive. So we'll play there Tuesday night, Thursday night, and sometimes Saturday mornings at like 8.
Oh,
So
wow.
I got to look at, depending on my schedule, I'll either play there or I'll play at Centerville on Saturday mornings at 6:30. Just depending on what my day looks like.
Okay.
And then on Sundays, I'll play up at Sanford School. I'm sure
Hmm.
you probably know some of the people that play up there as well. And that's a game. That's a kind of a mixed game. Like there's guys who are over 60 that play up there, and we'll get guys that are in there, mid to late 20s. So that's all over the place.
Yeah.
But it's a competitive game too. So that's been that way for me forever. Like I've never stopped playing. I know
Yeah.
one of the questions was like, when did you start playing basketball?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, when I was 5 or something.
Wow.
Like
Okay.
I was as long as I can remember. Um, and I've just loved it the whole time, and I just never stopped playing.
Absolutely. So again, like starting from 5, you definitely got a head start on me. So did you play in high school, college? Like where'd that path
Yeah,
take you?
yeah. So I went to so I played in my local neighborhoods growing up when I was 5, 6, 7, whatever, 10 years old. And I went to my first 2 years of high school. I went to Penn Charter in
Okay.
Philly. So I grew up in Philly, just for
Okay.
background. I've lived in Delaware now for about 22 years.
Yeah.
So growing up in Philly, and I went to Penn Charter for 2 years. Then I transferred to Archbishop Carroll up in Radnor, PA, and uh, and I played college at what used to be called Philadelphia College of Textiles and Science, and it became Philadelphia University, and now it's Jefferson.
Yes. Yep.
So the name has changed a couple times since I've been there. And then I got a job in corporate America, and I just started playing. But like I started playing, I was playing 4 or 5 nights a week in competitive, pickup leagues all around Philly, where I lived, and it just never stopped. You get married. I have 3 kids, so you start to cut back a little bit on how many nights a week you'll play over the years. But yeah, I mean, I still love playing, and I'm not planning on stopping.
Yeah. All right. So again, I haven't been to Centerville for a little while, right? But do me a favor, like describe your game. What do you
Mhm,
think you bring special or at least something consistently to a
mhm.
team when you're playing on it?
Yeah. I mean, for me, like my game is never, I've never been super athletic, super
Okay.
quick. So, like, I have good fundamentals. That's how I've gotten by all these years. I'm 6'4", but I'm not dunking. Certainly not now. Even when I was young, I wasn't really getting up like that. So, it's fundamental. It's, making the right play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I do have, I'd say, a scorer's mentality. I'm trying to get buckets. Um, but I look at the matchup that I have, because I will shoot it from three, but if I can get a switch and I got a smaller guy on me, I'll go right down on the block. And that's partly because I was pretty tall when I was a kid.
Okay.
So my early years, I was the center. You're the tallest kid, you go play down low. You don't shoot from outside. And so all the stuff I practiced in the early years was, miking drills and drop steps and, footwork down low.
Yes.
And I couldn't really shoot. And when I got to high school, basically stopped growing at this height. I was in like ninth, 10th grade, and I stopped growing. So
Wow.
I'm 6'4" center
Yeah.
who's not athletic. So you can imagine how that looked. Um, so I just really just focused on just learning how to shoot. And I was kind of a gym rat. So I had a schoolyard across from my house growing up, and I'd just go over there and just shoot hundreds and hundreds of jumpers, working on the right form. And and when I changed schools in high school, I transferred between sophomore and junior year, and there was a new coach coming into the school at that point, and they asked me what position I played, and I said I was a shooting guard.
How did he take that?
He was like, okay. He didn't know any better. He didn't. I
Wow.
wasn't known. It wasn't like I
Yeah.
was a known commodity. So it was like, okay, well, and then we just, he was a new coach, so he was just learning all the kids at the same time, and I just became a shooting guard, and that's what I.
Wow.
So when people ask me what position I play, and that was the same in college. I didn't grow anymore. I was a shooting guard in college too. Um, and I'd say, in those years, I was more of a catch and shoot kind of guy, because I wasn't quick or anything like that or super athletic. But I developed other parts of my game, like as I got into my 20s, and, started to be able to do more than just shoot, and kind of combined the big man moves and the shooting, depending on, matchups and
Yeah.
things I could take advantage of. And so that's how I survive out there.
Yeah. Wow, interesting story, man. Interesting. All right, so again, I want to do the conversations. I feel like I've been stalking you just a little bit, but I know you also play in the 50 and over 3-on-3 league,
Yep,
right?
yep,
Now,
yep.
but what team are you playing on, and what led to that decision? Friends, you were just
Yeah.
drafted? How'd you get to be on that team?
Yeah, so the team we play for is Famous Joe's. They're like our sponsor. It's like a
Okay.
bar up here in North Wilmington. So a good friend of mine, his name is Fran Forrest. You probably know Fran.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so Fran's been around forever, and he's one of the legends, right? He's still out there playing, and
Mhm.
I think Fran's like 62, 63. And a lot of times when I play, Fran's covering me. So I mean, he's not out there just running around. He's out there, playing D, and he can still shoot. But anyway, he's been playing in the 50 and over league for years, and he's probably been recruiting me for 3 or 4 years, when I was underage. So um, as I approached 50, it was like a foregone conclusion. Like he was like, when you turn 50, you're playing for us. Um, so yeah, we had so this was my second year playing in that league, and trying to think who else was on our team. Jimmy Friel's on the team.
Okay.
If you know Jimmy, Clarence is on the team. Marty Murray, Fran.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we have a whole bunch of guys
yeah,
that are like high IQ, solid basketball players.
yes,
We move the ball, and it's a competitive league though. Like
yeah,
you
yeah,
think, I came in as a 50. I'm 50, so I'm like the youngest guy,
yeah.
and I had heard it was really competitive, and I know like Jay Smooth plays in that league and some other guys. So I'm like, there's some players up there. It's tiring. Like you think, man, I'm playing guys who are older than me, and I'm tired.
Yeah, yep.
Um, and it's physical league too because you're not running up and down the court, so it's congested. Even though it's 3-on-3, there's some space in that regard, but a lot of post play, and there's some big strong guys in that league.
Yeah.
Um, so the games are wars.
Wow.
And
Okay.
the regular season games in that league, there's no refs, so you have to call your own fouls. And I don't like to call fouls. Like I like to just play.
Yeah.
Um, and my teammates, especially Fran, he'll yell at me. He's like, "You got to call that when you get fouled." And I'm like, I just try to play. Like I'm not trying to call a million fouls, but that's just the way I was raised, I guess you could say. Like we just play through, and so I had to adapt to that a little bit. But in the playoffs, they have refs, so
Okay.
it's a little different game. So refs are there to call the obvious fouls, but it's a great league. I think this year was the 25th year, if I'm
Oh,
not mistaken, of that league.
okay.
Um,
All right, so I'm going to bring it back to Centerville just a little bit, right?
yep,
And I'm
yep,
throwing little shots at Tron, because Tron usually is always up there picking teams. Not too many people get on that little special list, right? But
yeah,
you're up there. You got first pick, and most of the people from the gym are there, right?
yep.
Who from that Centerville group would you pick first to play with you for you to build a
Mhm.
team?
So I told you I watched a couple other of your podcasts,
Yeah.
the three you had from the Centerville guys, and they all mentioned this guy. To me, it's Kendall. So,
Yes.
and it's funny because Kendall has some friends that play in the 50 and over league,
Mhm.
and I saw him up there at the gym a few times, and I went up to him and I was like, he was just watching because I could tell he was younger than me, but I wasn't really sure. I was like, "How old are you, man? Like, how long until you're gonna be out here killing people?" And he's like, "I got 5 more years." And I was like, "Oh, that's good," because no one wants to see him out there. I tell you that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, he's just like a smart player,
Mhm.
the smoothest guy there. Can
Yeah.
shoot the three.
Yep.
He'll take you down low, hit the turnaround. Like when I the few times I try not to cover him honestly, because like I'll be honest, defensively, I'm a bit of a liability these days.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not moving as quickly as I used to, so you know staying in front of someone that's quick like that is a challenge. So if I'm covering him, I'm like I'll have to live with the jumper because
Yeah.
if I go out, he's gonna go by me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys like that, honestly, for me. But um, yeah, he's a tough cover, man. Like he'd be my first pick, and I've never been the one to pick the teams at Centerville, but um, that's who I would take first.
All right, see, Tron, we putting some pressure on you, man. The world's listening. You got to share those first round picks.
Yeah, I mean, like, shout out to Tron. Like he Tron makes it entertaining.
Now, you know what? With us being 50 and up or right around that 50 age, right? We've been around basketball for a while, right? And
Hmm.
the modern game is changing. We were into this a couple disputes this week, and the thing that was so funny is like, some people you got to remind them, you know what? You can't hand check anymore, right? You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah,
that might not have been a foul back then, but 2026, that's a foul, right?
yeah.
Now, let me ask you, is there any aspect of the modern game, right, that you tried to implement in your game, right? And then depending on what it is, did it work? Or you was like, no, 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 that's for the SGAs, for the young boys. That's not for me.
You know, I wish I don't spend a lot of time practicing anymore, right? Because like
Okay, okay.
I got work and family. Like I just go out and play. But like, when I'm out in the driveway, sometimes I'll be like, let me see how this like step back feels. Like that's a bit. Everybody in the league has a step back now.
Yeah,
And sometimes it looks like a walk, like this double step back move that
yeah,
they get away with. That wasn't a thing, back in the day. And it's been hard. Like I don't know if it's just like, I don't have the legs for it because you're stepping back. So it's like you're always kind of fading,
yeah,
if you don't have the right balance. So I haven't really been able to incorporate that.
yeah,
And the other thing too that I know some guys in the Centerville game, and I think of Tron, for example, like um, Tron and Bash, like some of these smaller guys, they have like this floater, like
yeah,
which I've never. That's one thing I never practiced it really. I never had it.
yeah,
I don't have it, and I feel like I have good touch, but it's just not a natural shot for me.
yeah,
So like
yeah,
they'll get in the paint and they can hit that little floater, whereas if I'm in the paint, I'm trying to go all the way to the rim
yeah.
because I don't have the float, you know.
All right, so let me ask you this. Like, what's been your favorite NBA player, right? And I want it's kind of twofold because I think we
Hmm.
can have an NBA player that you admire growing up, which might have shaped our game, but you also might look at that new generation of a favorite player. So,
Yep.
have there been people that you've admired in the NBA over the years?
Yeah. So when I saw that you were going to ask me that question, I was happy. So it's probably not. You probably can't see it that good. I don't know if it's. I don't know how to zoom in, but that's the doctor right there
You know what?
in a framed picture. So Sixers fan growing up, Doc was like everything. He was
Yeah.
like part of the reason I'd be over at the schoolyard at 8, 9, 10 years old,
Mhm.
trying to do all these insane acrobatic shots, and like he would like put English on the ball, like he'd spin it off the glass,
Yeah.
and I couldn't even jump over a phone book, but I was trying these same moves, right? Uh, and it was like, man, he's just the coolest dude, you
Yeah.
know. And they, of course, they won the championship, which I like barely remember. I was about 7 when that happened.
Yeah.
Um, but like dunk contests and
Yeah. Yeah.
getting in brawls with the Celtics, with the Sixers Celtics rivalry in the '80s was like, man, like this guy's the greatest. So he was always my uh, favorite player growing up. Um, so I mean, I guess I gravitate, you know, more towards like the hometown players. Like I loved Allen Iverson,
Oh
and it
my
was like, man,
gosh.
I just for his size, like it was just amazing to me because it wasn't quite the '80s level of physicality, but when he came in the league, it was still a pretty physical league, and he's only another guy. He's probably not actually 6 foot and 160 soaking wet.
Yeah.
And he was the only guy on the team who could score. So teams were sending 2, 3 guys at him, trying to rough him up, and he would just hit the ground and he would hop right back up. Like he
Yes,
couldn't
indeed.
keep him down.
Yeah.
Um, so I loved Iverson. I'm a big LeBron guy too. And it's
No.
funny because like I feel like LeBron he gets a lot of hate for reasons I don't quite understand. Like I know the flopping is a big thing in the league now, and
Yeah.
yeah, he does some flopping, but so does everybody else in the league.
Yeah.
But I mean, 41, 42 years old now, 50,000 points. I
Yeah.
mean, and can do it all. People are talking about him on the Sixers now, like, do they have enough basketballs to go around? And I'm like, I think they do because LeBron doesn't. He don't need shots. Like
Yeah.
LeBron will be happy to go out and get 12 assists. Like he's always been the pass first type of guy. So,
Yes.
I've always loved LeBron's game.
So one last question. I think we're almost ending it with the structured questions, but let me
Okay.
ask this. Is there a little secret weapon or go-to of your game that you have? Like when you know you're going to buck, you said you're a scorer, you like to go get it, right? What's the
Yep.
like, you know what? This is what I'm gonna go to. I know I can get it off.
The left hand. The left
Okay.
hand. I'm right-handed,
Yeah.
naturally, and I shoot jumpers right-handed. Um, but this goes back to being a little kid and being, most kids are strong hand dominant, right? So I was
Yeah.
right hand dominant, always going right. And I remember my dad just preaching. He's like, I guess he knew I wasn't going to be a super athlete or anything. He's like, you got to be able to go right and left
Yeah.
and finish right and left around the basket, especially if you're going to be a big man, which he thought maybe I would be when I was tall and young. Um, so yeah, I'd say when I get around the basket, especially,
Yeah.
I can go up with either hand, which helps me because I can feel where that defender is. If they're on my left shoulder, I can go right and vice versa. Um, because I'm not getting up off the ground a lot, so I'll shoot a lot of little baby hooks with either hand, um, and try to keep my body between the defender and myself so I can get it off without getting it blocked. Left hand is probably my biggest weapon.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. You know, it's
I
so
encourage
funny.
all the children out there too, work on both hands.
Yeah. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit back there and start the PowerPoint. Let's get to
Okay.
this aspect. Who is an individual that you think should be on the podcast, right?
I guess I'd probably put Kendall out there because I told you we talked about how I respect his game. Um, so I'd like to hear about how he got to be who he is because
Absolutely,
he
absolutely.
had to. I don't know if he played college ball or I would assume if he wanted to he could have.
Yeah,
Um, so I'd like to hear how he got to be the player he is.
absolutely. And you know, everyone always called him the quiet assassin. What's going to happen when we put the microphone in front of the quiet assassin?
Well, that's the thing too is like he's a low key dude from what
Yeah.
I can tell. So yeah, it'd be good for him to open up.
Yeah, I love that idea. So Kendall, realize I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you, man.
Sorry, Kendall. Hey, I had to do it.
And you know what? He can't duck because he doesn't duck any smoke on the court. I can't imagine he's going to duck the invitation either.
I'm sure he'll do it.
All right. So now this right here is what usually starts a little bit of shenanigans,
I
right?
have to
Now
go to
you're
the I have
new,
to go to the
but again,
glasses here.
it doesn't take too long to sit back and get that eye test, right? About what's going on. So this right
Yeah.
here is our Centerville rankings where people are over the weeks. If they've moved, you'll see that the green glow or the red glow to where they are, right? But we kind of want to right size this, right? So
Yeah.
what are some moves that you think should happen to make sure that this is kind of like an appropriate tier to
hmm
describe Centerville?
Okay. Um, so I know from watching previous pods that my man Shane disrespected Tron and moved him down to the C's, which sounds like a vendetta. So I know I can only move him up one level at a time. So
Okay, okay.
take care of that first. We got to move Tron up to the B
A man
level.
that knows the rules, man. I'm loving it. I'm loving
Yeah, yeah. I
it.
came prepared. I came prepared.
Okay.
Uh, so I don't know. Jay Smooth is an A, obviously.
You know,
I
I
thought he
thought
was
so
an
too.
A. Maybe somebody else moved him down and I missed it. But
Yeah, honestly, you have again, you haven't seen Sharad's episode.
oh, that's what. Oh, Sherrod, man, Sherrod's gonna get some heat for that.
All
I
right.
like your. I mean, I don't know if I should be on the top tier. I'll say that much. I'm not gonna move myself,
Okay.
but it's good company. I like everybody you have on that top tier.
Okay.
Especially Bash too. We didn't talk about Bash. There's another guy whose game I like a lot. I know he was down a couple levels and that got rectified. So that's good to see.
Well,
Um,
Bash knows that was absolutely me who did that. Because you know what? Let me tell you, until I was doing the podcast and people were talking about Bash's game, right?
mhm.
I think since he was a point guard and he wasn't ready to score, I really just overlooked it. But then I'm
Yeah.
sitting up there realizing like how important it is, right? And then he got
hmm
on here and talked this talk and was talking about how he wins, and you know what? When he's at
Yeah.
Centerville and when he's at the Y, Bash is on the team that wins, and he's the reason. He's the reason why. So again, I did do a little
Yeah.
bit random, but again, I didn't sit back and be like, "Hey, Tom, look down there. Bash isn't right." But again, the community speaks. The community speaks over time.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, like when when I show up at Centerville, and again I'm not usually the one making the teams, so I'm just, they just tell me where I'm at. So I don't really listen into it or anything like that. It just and I love playing with Bash because he is pass first,
Yeah.
which as a scorer I like, right? So he
Mhm.
he knows me enough now. Like he knows I can make a shot and I can do some things, so he looks for me. Um, so yeah, I definitely think he should be up there. Um, so I got one more move, one or two
One
more
more move.
moves.
Now you can do like Jay Smooth. Actually, no, do like Sherrod or Jay Smooth. I forget. But one person didn't take all of their moves, right? If it's
Okay.
looking good, it's looking good.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
now I will say this
Yeah.
though. I haven't been there in a while, right? Is there
Yeah.
anybody that you think I'm missing that's been playing? You know who it's shamed. I'm not sure if he still comes there, but I know there's two Zachs, right? I guess there's Big Zach
Oh,
and then Zach.
okay. So I was, yeah, trying to think of, I'm thinking Zach, who's
Yeah.
like white Zach. I don't
Yeah,
know the
white.
other Zach.
Yeah, and then that's the
Um,
thing. I don't know if he's been there a while, but I think somebody was talking
okay.
before. I think
And I
Jay
missed a
Smooth.
couple weeks myself
Yeah,
while I was
yeah.
away. So there are a couple of so there have been two guys that are sticking out in my head that are newer to me,
Okay.
and one of them, his name is, and John, Jay Smooth mentioned him, a kid named Charles,
Yep.
who's like a younger athletic kid who I've only played with him a couple times. He actually went to my high school. I found out from talking to him.
Okay. Okay.
Um, yeah, he went to Archbishop Carroll, so he's one to consider. Like he's a little raw, like learning the game, but like athletic and hustles and needs to work on the shot a little bit maybe, but yeah, has potential. And another kid, I shouldn't call him a kid. I don't know how old he is, but he's younger than me. I know that. Um, his name's Anthony, who's been showing up the last few weeks. I think he's someone that I want to say he might be another guy that Jay Smooth has brought to the game. Um, can shoot the rock, like
Okay. Okay.
lights out shooter. So, and a couple of times I played with him, I was like, I didn't really know his game, so I was like, oh, like I tend to play off of people I don't know, like see if they can make a shot before I let them blow by me.
Right.
So I was like not really going out on him, and he was like knocking down threes. I'm like, man, I got to get out there now. Um, so those are just a couple names of guys that I've seen that are newer, um, that I've only played with a couple times, who I think are maybe worthy of adding to this list.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely. Now, I'm not going
just
to put
something to
pressure
think
on
about.
you, but where would you put, I guess, if you don't have another move, what you could do is place where you think Charles or Anthony would be based off your limited observations.
Um, I would probably say I would put Anthony in the B level and Charles in the C level,
Okay. Okay.
just based on purely on performance thus far. Because
Yeah.
like I said, Charles is a little raw, and he probably, I mean, he might be the most athletic dude in the game at Centerville right now. He's,
Okay.
one of the younger guys, but he can get up and everything. But his game's raw, so I don't think I can put him in the B level yet.
Okay.
But
Okay.
Anthony has shown me on multiple occasions that he can just fill it up. So I think I'm comfortable with that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, no shade is what we're doing it. We're going to sit back and get Anthony and Charles where they be. Thank you so much for this, man. It's so interesting. You know what?
Yeah,
And I'll
it's a
tell
great
you,
idea.
yeah, I love how we're doing this, right? Because quite frankly, if you watch all the episodes from the other gym, the culture is different. The Centerville tier list is such done together like some gentlemen. It's
Yeah,
so
other
kind
guys
and
are just ripping
respectful.
people. That's like you said earlier. Like that's why it's a special game, right? Like it's the people in the game are respectful people. So you can see that in these rankings. I think no one wants to, and people are being it's honest feedback, but
Yeah,
there's
yep,
just a lot of good players. Like you could have a lot of these guys should be on the A list probably, but you don't want to have everybody be an A. Everybody can't be an A. You got to have some B's and
absolutely.
C's. So
Absolutely. All right. So again, we got through the tier list, right? We're both still here. We're making it. Let me ask you this. I think I've asked you everything that I actually had planned, right? Is there
Yeah.
anything about you that you would like us to know or a way to kind of end off the pod episode?
Um, I mean, I'm just I'm just glad I had the opportunity to talk with you, get to know you a little bit, talk about the game. I mean, the old saying, basketball is life, right? It's so true, you know. And for me, it's like, get when I get into a new game, like the Centerville game, you start to meet the people, and it's like you build relationships. That's what it's all about, like the camaraderie, the competition, the camaraderie.
Yep.
That's what like makes it fun for me because it's not so much about, proving yourself as much as it used to be when you were younger. You get a little older and it's more about who are the people you're hanging out with, right? And are they good people? And you can see it, the whole group is great. And you got people like Jay Smoove who are like, trying to be role models for younger people, which I love to see, um, people bringing their kids to run around the gym, like it's just a great environment.
Absolutely.
So I'm just happy to be part of that. And, hopefully I'll be continue to be showing up there and, playing ball and having a good time and having a lot of laughs and some trash talk here and there.
Absolutely. I know one thing when you sit back and hear the issue, I think as you're there, you may not know what people are saying, but I will tell you when I'm standing next to the people, what they're saying, Tom, you're not going anywhere unless you want to leave Centerville. And the love is
I
so
don't
real.
plan
I
on
know.
it.
Yeah, you don't plan on it. You don't plan on it.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you so much. I'm just going to end that with just saying thank you for coming out. Thank you for ending another episode. I can't believe we're at 15. This is one of the best episodes, man. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Buckets and Bull Swish.
Buckets and Bull Swish.
All right, guys, we're sitting here again, once again with Bash, who knows about both of the courts, YMCA and also Centerville. You guys probably just watched the episode with Tom Tobin, right? Now, Sebastian, looking at Tom's game, right? Who do you think would be a good matchup for Tom at the YMCA?
Oh, Tom is a different beast. He's a true center. But again, age plays its part.
So if we had him come over against the YMCA group, who do you think of those big men would be the best matchup?
Who would be the best matchup for Tom?
Yeah.
It would be, I think Sergio. I think Sergio. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Now, again, so we think about it on different levels. We got 3 platforms. We got the ones, we got the half court 4s, and then full court, right? Do you think the edge, how do you think it goes? 1-on-1, Sergio versus Tom. Who do you think has the edge on that?
Good one. Ooh, I would say Tom. I think I would say Tom.
Yep. You know what? I think 1-on-1, sometimes you play big. That's when the veterans have that advantage. That's when the veterans have that advantage.
Because also Sergio said he hasn't been playing ball. So once he gets back in shape, he'll be good. Yeah.
So you know what? I'm rooting for Tom. So what we got to do to make sure that Tom has that edge, let's set it up quickly.
That'll be nice, Chris. That sounds like a good plan.
So again, let's look at the whole aspect about the 4s half court. Who do you think has the edge then? Tom, Sergio on the 4v4 half court game?
Tom is pretty solid. I would say that. Tom is pretty solid. Yeah.
So we got Tom again. Excellent.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I even wonder if I I even wonder if I need to ask you this last question. But if we go with the full court 5s, who you think would have the better game? It doesn't necessarily have to be, back and forth those 2 people, but who would have the most productive game between those 2 full court?
Man, these are hard questions, man. Oh man. Since Sergio hasn't been playing, I would go with Tom. He's much more in shape than Sergio.
Okay. All right. You know what? You know how it works right here. We put it on the pod. We put the air out there. Sergio might be in the gym running circles around the gym just to get himself into shape. But again, you guys heard it here. Excellent. Again, we definitely want to sit back and try to promote the community, promote these matchups, all fun and games, right? But again, since Bash knows, we definitely want to reach out and use him as a resource. All right. Thank you guys again. Listen to another little mini segment on Buckets and Bull Swish.
Here we go.